Well, welcome back to another episode of the Pearl Lemon podcast. I'm sitting here right now with my brand new friend, Mr. Aaron Winston. Great to meet you this morning. How you doing?
Likewise, doing well, thank you. Good
All right,
day.
Aaron. Well, you've got like the microphone for a good 120 seconds right now. Where are you in the world? Like, who are you working for? What do you bring to the table this morning?
Gotcha. I'm Aaron Winston. I'm strategy director at Express Legal Funding, and right now I'm based in the Miami area. And from the standpoint of what do, I kind of do a lot of things. Like I kind of like the joke is like they say, jack of all trades, master of none. I feel like my joke is jack of all trades, master of all. But that's just a little bit not accurate. But I like the kind of contrarian wording there in a sense. But more, I wear a lot of hats and from the business side to the website, content marketing, lead generation, integrations. Like definitely that's my strong suit, and what I spend the most time doing is creating content and setting up like the pipeline. But at the same time, the business strategy and vision is also something that I've really kind of helped develop, company culture type, areas as well. But ultimately, that's kind of my day to day is a lot of different things. But also, I definitely do from the aspect of pre-settlement funding. Like I do have like a active role in underwriting and understanding that how it works, and kind of developing. And I feel like we've developed a kind of a innovative approach to reduce loss in a sense based on like our underwriting. Like the human element's a very important factor for us. Like when it comes to like pre-settlement funding, if it's it's basically just to kind of give a definition, it's like a non-recourse funding agreement in the sense. So if someone has like a personal injury case and they, inherent to personal injuries, they're probably hurt.
Right.
And so then there might not be, after a car accident, be able to do work, and you have additional costs, and that they have the bills they got to pay. And so instead of being forced to settle too early, like which the insurance companies kind of play on that, they can sell a portion of their potential case proceeds and get some money in their pocket now to pay their bills. And then at the end of their case, hopefully if it's successful and they get a settlement or trial award, we'll get what we're currently owed from our ownership amount of that. But so it's very unique in a sense. It's not credit-based type
Right.
financing, and it's more about the case. And for the same time though, if someone's just filed for bankruptcy, we're not going to, fund them because the money could get swept up in that.
Sure.
But at the same time, though, when it comes to human element side that I'm a believer in, is that if people are going to like kneecap their case, that's going to cost us, and it like poor decision making. So if they basically can't be trusted in a deposition, they're going to be caught up in lies. Let's say that hurts their case, which also hurts our ability to recover what we've funded. So that's a really cool
overview. Yeah. And so my question on that, and here on this podcast, as we spoke about before, that's a really good summary at the start. My question to you, Aaron, as a human, why are you attracted to still be in the role at your company? What is it about the company that it provides for you that you're like, hey, I'm sticking around, I love this work?
Okay, good question. I feel like it fits what I like, that I'm an owner, so I'm an owner of the company. So I have the ability to kind of do what I want role wise in a sense. It's not like I'm pigeonholed, like this is what my contract said I had to do. But I like that it's kind of like every day just kind of chipping away at the, block, try to like add. And, that's what I love about website content marketing is that it's always more that you can do. There's also, you can take new directions. And then I love from an SEO side, I kind of pick up on trends and I'm like, ooh, I think that'll help our overall, ability to rank locally if we do that. It's kind of like, it's ever evolving game, and that keeps me busy. And it's also become my kind of strong suit too, in the sense that I feel like being the best at kind of SEO is kind of our separating factor is Express Legal Funding from other companies, like in content marketing. Like you look at our blog content compared to any other companies, they don't come close. Like, even law firms most don't come close. Just the depth best. But that, if it weren't for me being able to do it, it wouldn't make sense to be able to, in some ways, financially, pay for all that content. It's like some of the posts would just be too cost prohibitive to do the amount of hours to do a proper job on it. It's like, if it's me, it doesn't cost. But if we were to so that's why it's kind of the value for, it's a difference maker when, somebody within the company can do that. You don't have to outsource it.
And right now you're that dark horse, right? Are you writing all the content, or do you have a team that also writes the content?
No, pretty much all me.
Okay,
I have some help, but not really they help. Like, I work with WordLift. They help advise me on stuff. I use their tool, and we have a cool partnership coming about too, which is cool. But the thing is, but definitely it's my content, me, going, writing the blogs, and it's not, I don't have a team of people working on it.
And that's awesome. And what we want to include this in the show notes. Where and what is the website? Is it expresslendingfunding.com/blog?
No, expresslegalfunding.com and /blog would be the blog page with the resources content.
expresslegalfunding.com. Okay, cool. We'll put that in the show notes for our listeners. And you talked about the value proposition that you provide, not only in the content and the writing, right? But then you also mentioned legal professions and law firms as well. Maybe if you could spend a little bit of time, since you built this from the ground up, how do you continue to kind of make your value different from them outside of the blogs, right? And in saying that, how do you gain trust from and it's a national company, right? It's US-based national company.
Yeah.
So how are you gaining trust from California to Miami with the work that you're putting forward?
Well, I think blogs, blog resources go very far. I find that basically it's twofold. I think people appreciate good quality content that was that was good and things, and even if they from the standpoint, I think people want nowadays and age, people have an affinity for wanting to associate with the best. So I feel like in some ways having the best content makes people more wanting to be associated with it. There's a certain degree to that, I think, from the law firm side, because law firms they SEO and stuff, or if they want to, because Google Ads is very expensive, but why basically only do Google Ads? Do both. It's kind of cover your SEO and so I think that they appreciate law firms that have worked with websites. They appreciate knowing it's hard to create quality content.
Yes.
And so when they see that, I think that goes they kind of almost, I think some law firms have referred us business based on seeing the quality content, and they admire it, and it's it's in depth, and also, or especially early on, the way I wrote about it, my guides about legal funding, what it is, was very novel in a sense, from the standpoint of I took a really kind of all-encompassing here's the in and outs of it, and here's the pitfalls to be aware of. And just a quick thing, my cousin, who's actually a lawyer in New York, he told me he's seen pre-settlement funding websites. He's they're all the same.
Yes.
And I'm exactly, except mine. They all have the exact same fact section that says it's not a loan. That's their default thing. Which the point is, by making my content unique, and I think that from the algorithm / patents on Google about notability, original content. I think the original content factor has really helped me, because it's been able to distinguish and have a unique brand voice, not all the same 10 sentences saying what it is.
So my question around that is, are you finding that when a consumer or a person that needs your type of service, when I'm typing it in organically, you're towards the top of the listings, of the Google listings? Or are you also using social media to slingshot your messages, slingshot your content forward as well?
Yeah, so I'd say we do rank towards the top for the kind of commercial / product type keywords. We definitely aren't always at the top, but we're on page 1 for most, which is what we want. And I'm pretty sure we could be right now we've been devoting more time to the side of creating content, because for my kind of next plan of what I'm working on, but which I can tell you about in a minute. But the thing is, from the perspective of if I was taking more time to target the commercial keywords, I'm sure we could rank higher. But at this moment, it's not a priority as much, because we're still getting a good amount of leads.
That's great.
But the thing that's, I feel like the blog content is kind of the slingshot thing, because in some ways we have that, also from the standpoint, people are researching a legal topic and they find us and they discover in a sense the product based on their legal topic they're researching. Like they search like, can I sue for assault? So they're wanting to know, can they sue for assault? They haven't hired an attorney yet. If they want to know, can they do that? Which we can't finance clients until after they retain a personal injury attorney.
Sure.
So the thing is though, our ability, but they've kind of discovered my product before at the same time of discovering whether they have a claim that they can pursue or not. So that's in some ways kind of a benefit I have developed, is that I'm almost kind of the legal law firm content topics, not just which also is unique. Most legal funding websites stick just to the product. Yes. And this is also better for backlink building too, because more people are apt to link to those type of resources than legal funding, because also they're not searching it as much. Like I have a lot of backlinks on Reddit, like for instance, for topics not related to legal funding. But I wouldn't have those backlinks from Reddit if I only wrote about legal funding. But writing about like answering questions, like one was about like, what shopkeeper's privilege. Then there's, or like about like people like look for answers, and I think featured snippets is a great way to get backlinks too. But like that's a whole nother avenue, which also
I love that we can geek out on this backlinks and citations and all the stuff that you're doing. And it's kind of a sideways hustle that you've got to almost drag them away from that organic search to you, providing that thought leadership, right? And you're like you said, in a space that no one's touching it. Yes, because and to see that it's dated 2023, 2024, not 2016. Right, it's updated and it's constant and it's relevant. So let me ask you another question in that kind of space. When you think of you providing the thought leadership around these consumer expectations for the industry, talk to me about. I know you said you used a tool before, but what is your development process? Like, talk me through real quick. Is it just you doing random reading? You're like, oh, I could write about that, or is the tool helping provide you subject matter expertise in terms of areas that is unwritten or
good question.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I exactly. I think it's a couple. I'm always thinking, but generally that's part of my thing. I'm always just kind of thinking, kind of like behind my scene process of thinking, like what would be a good thing to write about. And we're also based on kind of a couple of strategies there. One is I find SEMrush to be a very helpful. Like that's my kind of gives me ideas, not like the actual like they have like content AI topic ideas. Not that. It's more seeing what basically I'm currently ranking for. Like my strategy initially would not be this, you need more content to be able to go that way, but I'll give you, for instance, this example. So I wrote about like, lawyer Johnny Cochran. I wanted to make kind of a video thing about how, like, just explaining his life.
I'm intrigued. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very relevant in a sense, legal, like it's all about like, they say like it's strings instead of, things instead of strings when it comes to like, writing about entities, not just keywords. So like basically my covering topics related to lawyer makes me more relevant for other things. And like in Google sees, you're talking about lawyers a lot. So obviously you're relevant to someone who's looking to hire a lawyer. That type of concept from SEO, like, it's, entities and all that. So when it comes to, like writing about Johnny Cochran, you get a lot of relevant keywords. It's also good for internal linking, because if I want to link to words on a page, you want to have words that relate to it. So that's part of why I do that also. But then I saw the Johnny Cochran short little video with the transcript on the website blog was ranking for a lot of, OJ Simpson lawyer type keywords, like not top 10, but it wasn't really trying to rank for those, like OJ Simpson Dream Team, like all that type of stuff. And then I thought, oh, it would be, since basically Google's wanting to use me as a resource for this, but it's not even so relevant directly to the, so I'm going to write content directly addressing the keywords that it's already ranking me on page 3 for, so it ranked me on page 1 for those.
Nice.
Like that's been a strategy I do.
That's cool. Is that one of your? Sorry, is that one of your favorite blogs so far? Is that one of the most visited blogs that you've got?
Oh no, I actually, it's not. It's fairly new. So okay. No, it's not. Curious. The search term is not there. I say actually, there's a few blogs that are the most it's switched a little bit this year. And basically, I thought, like, I knew that, like, I was thinking, top 10 lists, things. Google appreciates that for featured snippets, and also people like top 10 lists. And so I started thinking, what's some good low competition top 10 lists that are somewhat relevant to my topic? If I write about, beauty products, it's gonna dilute my content, hardly. But if I write about something that takes expertise in research, and it has the word, a lot of legal elements and also you think about it, it's legal / crime, even though we're not really crime oriented, topics, but crime and legal are kind of share a lot of similar topics. Like I did my most read one to the top 10 list of like top 10 most dangerous cities in a state. And that information is based on like, FBI, reported crime data, but it takes a lot of some legwork to, access it and kind of organize it properly. And then I like building kind of templates that I can kind of replicate, which makes it quicker for the other states. Like I've done like 4 states. So that's been the most, I think Texas is the most.
What? Why? Why? Because a consumer is searching for that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, tons of people. It's the most dangerous city in this state. Like, and also the benefit of also why I want to do that is because we want to do business in Texas. It's very relevant to us. So the more things that we can show we're relevant to Texas, the better. And so that's definitely the kind of that thing. And also then we get backlinks for talking about Texas, and we're in Texas, so it helps Google think they deserve to be local. Like show like the Google business page, like profile. You like it shows you where you think you're relevant. So that's another way to kind of do that. But really, read post is about like and this is also, I think I got the benefit of like Google sees that it's relevant to me, like because I actually experienced in real time when it was happening, the newspapers back in like early 2014. You had this whole thing like affluenza teen Ethan Couch, which is a whole like it became a whole big thing. Like it was like a DUI, underage, and it's a lot of people still search for him even now, like 10 years later. He kind of became like a kind of cult phenomenon in a sense. Like people love or hate him. Like no one loves him, but like some people like hate him and some people feel bad. Like, and so I wrote a timeline on that because and I could say at the end of the article, this is relevant to me, the author, as I was tracking it in real time back in 2014, and it's an interesting. And also I find too, like another one that I wrote about that's done well. It's not as high a search term. There's the Big Con, which is a docu-series on Apple TV about a lawyer who like Social Security disability attorney, which is relevant to us and to a degree. We're not like funding on those cases, but there's that a lot of the people who are injured have also on maybe Social Security disability insurance. And so it's a thing is that there's a big fraud thing. But so I watched a documentary and I really liked it a lot, the series. And like not maybe 8 months later, I'm like, I should make it that on topic about that. And it's like, because it's like people haven't really written about it so much, and it's still not it's older. So it's not like the newspaper type sites, news sites are not having to compete with CNN for that. Like they just released it so it's been older, and I'm then a lot newer and they kind of wrote about it from one little angle, let's say in a timeline and then I'm shifting it to being about like all encompassing.
Wow. Wow. I think my mind's just a little blown here, Aaron, and I'm sure we can continue to talk through. I do have a couple as we round the corner, kind of coming towards the close here. Two final kind of segments for you. The first one is, you said business owner. Give me right now, top of mind, like what is the number one discipline that you as a business owner are working on for yourself?
What do you mean by discipline?
As in, you come to work in the morning and you're like, I used to do this, now I'm really trying to do this to make myself more efficient, to make myself more powerful, to grow this business even further.
Gotcha. I wouldn't say there's so much something I'm focusing on, because it's a little bit more like I'm having to the job calls for it, I do it. But I think I'll pivot that slightly, the word answer, to saying like which might have been the last question you talked about, like, what do I have recommendation wise in a sense. But I feel like it kind of like, I think the actual having discipline to know as a business owner, to know that like you're the last, like you're the captain of the ship in a sense, that like you're the last, it's gonna fall on you. You can't say I don't want to do it if no one else has the ability to do it, or no one's there. It's like you got to come. You don't just think, oh, I can't work past 5 p.m. no matter what. Like you don't have. Sometimes you're not going to have a choice, because if you want to make sure your company can continue being successful, you have to, put all hands on deck, extra effort, and because the buck stops with you in a sense. I think people who are, watching the clock out every day and things, that doesn't really, they won't be happy to realize it from the entrepreneurial side that you don't really get that option, because it's sometimes, you work towards that is you develop a company that you don't have to devote as many hours, you have employees to help.
Yeah,
but at the same time though, it falls on you to if all hell breaks loose, it's you are going to be the one that has to make sure that you're there to right the ship, or at least find the people to right the ship. Not, I want to have someone else do it, but if you don't have an employee that currently in that role, it has to fall on somebody, and it's you. So I think that's something I'm kind of not realized. It's hasn't been a hard realization, but it's like also having to, I think, from a discipline standpoint of like, what am I kind of focusing on now more? I think kind of looking outward in a sense. For so long, I was just writing blog posts. Now it's like forming partnerships to leverage the content I've created and things, which is kind of like, I'm thinking of a lot of like synergistic type relationships in the sort, kind of like you have all these kind of, venture capitalist portfolios.
Yes.
You have the companies where all these, I'm not thinking that for us, but more the stints, they have all these companies in there and they share data and stuff. They're so much more effective because they have a group of, like they can leverage each other's, like it's synergy. So like there's ways to do that from just company standpoint, even if you're separate companies that are like or also product offerings. So like there's just, that's kind of what I'm kind of shifting towards also. Like I've created all this great base of, content and things, this model that works. So let's kind of expand upon it and, leverage what I have that other people don't have. Because we have like copyrights that we've been able to really enforce and stuff that's been effective too. Like I copyright our blog, register the copyrights for our blog and stuff like that.
You're such the legal side right there. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, the AI I feel like kind of in a sense created me in a sense. Like, and let me explain what that means. What it means is that we would never, to basically enforce to sue somebody for copyright infringement, they need to first be copying your content. You can't. So ultimately, it's like if they're not number one, I had to rank at the top. If my content wasn't novel and better, no one would care to copy it. So that was the thing I did there. But then when you had these AI rephraser tools, which people don't realize till to this day, that when it comes to like ChatGPT and stuff, people think, oh, you're just saying ChatGPT, write this topic for me. It's like, it's not a prompt, because then they have all these other tools that people are using built on ChatGPT that say, like there's one, I can't remember the name, like I saw it, like it's sort of like, paste in your competitor's link to outrank them. We'll create content better than you paste in the URL and they'll create better content to outrank you. That's not okay. You can't basically create a direct derivative that way. Right. And that's what I think people have been doing. And I think that's been an ability, because we've settled 6 cases successfully for infringement, and it's
against you.
You've settled it. Yeah, okay. People have been infringing upon us, so we sued them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that is for you then. Okay, interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's I think been kind of part of my brand is original novel content, and it's a way to kind of enforce our position in search results, because if you write the most in-depth content, in the best, and based on how search engines work and stuff, where it's like they want to have it all on the topic, in a sense it kind of makes it hard for people not to copy you. Yes. In a sense that they want to outrank you, because you kind of define what's expected for quality content on this topic. And that's what I've kind of also seen. That's been kind of our brand too. And that's and that's what I'm going to be working with on WordLift. Like basically we're going to, because the content a lot I created is not really geared, a lot of it towards, legal funding. It's much more law firms. Mm-hmm. And so WordLift is going to basically create content based on my content for law firms. So then law firms can then do really well in SEO, because it's hard, like WordLift has held back from wanting to do legal content to this point, because it takes a lot of research, and especially they're based in like Italy and stuff. So it's harder to research topics related to legal stuff in America from overseas, because the resources they get might not be relevant and they don't really understand. So it's not worth like for that niche, it's a little too hard. But based on all my research and stuff I've created and done, and my original content that performs very well, it makes it easier for them to create, spin-off content in a sense but it'll still be seen as original. It's just, they have a base to learn from.
I feel like you've got a wide open runway and field in front of you, Aaron, and I'm excited to continue to watch the journey here. But we're going to close out today with one last speed round of kind of one-word questions I've got for you. We haven't prompted this earlier, so get ready. Aaron Winston from the Express Legal Funding Group. All right, here is your speed round. Favorite business podcast at the moment that you listen to?
I don't listen to one.
Okay, that's good. Favorite business book that you've read in your journey that you always refer back to?
Yeah, for sure. The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. That is, it's not officially business, but I feel like that's hugely, it's so powerful. I find what it's taught me.
I think I got it up here actually.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, I'm a big fan of that book. I listened to the Audible of it because what I would do is when I would go grocery shopping, I just listened to it, and it's so well structured, and it's correct. Like when I would go against the rule sometimes you don't have a choice in a sense. I don't try to stick myself to it, but the potential negative outcomes can happen. Never want to outshine the master type thing. It's like there's benefit to not do, there's a lot of truth of the laws, and I'm not trying to rise to power, but in the sense that there's power dynamics in every situation, and its business is very connected to it, I think.
Fantastic. And then the final question I've got for you, are you left or right-handed?
Right-handed. Definitely right-handed. But actually when I was a kid, when I played baseball at school, basically baseball, league or whatever, I was able to bat both sides. That was
ambidextrous.
It's ambidextrous. Wow. And when it came to baseball, it was not a challenge for me to do that.
And it sounds like you're doing that just in business too. You're firing off to the right, firing off to the left, and putting them over the fence.
Exactly. I feel like when people there's right brain, left brain thing, I feel like I'm really kind of both in a lot of ways.
But we're all both. But you're dominant in both.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
That's great. Well, again, appreciate your time today, and for our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll get you next week on the podcast.